Mark didn't just slide the divorce papers across the kitchen island. He pushed them toward me like I was a dirty plate he was trying to send back to the kitchen. "Sign it, Sarah," he said, not even looking me in the eye. He was too busy adjusting the cuffs of his shirt, checking his reflection in the microwave door. "Let's not make this messy. You know I hate drama." My hands were resting on the granite, cold, hard stone. That's all I could feel. I couldn't feel my legs. I couldn't feel the beat of my heart. Just the cold stone and the burning nausea rising in my throat. "You're leaving?" I managed to whisper. It sounded pathetic, even to my own ears. "Mark, we just booked the cabin for our anniversary next month. I just bought the groceries for your meal prep." "What are you talking about?" He finally looked at me, and the look on his face wasn't sadness. It wasn't guilt. It was annoyance, pure, unfiltered irritation that I was making him explain himself. "I'm done," he said flatly. "I've been unhappy for a long time. And honestly, I met someone. Her name is Jessica. She's fresh. She's 22. She's ambitious. And she doesn't nag me about taking out the recycling every Tuesday." The air left the room. 5 years. We've been married 5 years. Together for 7. I supported him when he was unemployed. I paid the rent when he decided to find himself and start a failed dropshipping business. And now, he's leaving me for a 22-year-old named Jessica because she's fresh. "You're cheating on me," I stated. It wasn't a question. "Technically, we haven't slept together yet," he scoffed, waving a hand dismissively. "But the emotional connection is there, and I'm not going to waste any more time. Look, read the papers." I looked down at the document. It wasn't just a standard divorce filing. It was a post-nuptial agreement tied into a dissolution of marriage, a clean break stipulation. "I had my buddy Steve draw it up," Mark said, leaning forward, his voice dropping to that condescending tone he uses when he explains crypto to me. "It says we waive all rights to each other's future assets and current holdings. What's in my account stays mine. What's in your account stays yours. No alimony, no spousal support. We walk away with exactly what we have right now." I blinked, trying to process the legalese through my tears. "Why, Mark? We don't own a house. We rent. We have one car, and it's in your name." "Exactly," he smirked. "And I have my savings. I hit $10,000 in my personal savings account last week, Sarah. 10 grand. I know you've been eyeing it. I know you'd try to take half of it if we went to court. I'm not letting you drain me dry just because you're bitter." I almost laughed. I physically had to bite the inside of my cheek to stop the hysterical bubble of laughter from erupting. He was protecting his $10,000. He thought I was a gold digger for 10 grand. "I need to use the bathroom," I said abruptly. "Sarah, don't run away. Just sign the damn thing," he groaned. "I think I'm going to be sick," I lied. "Give me a minute." I ran to the powder room and locked the door. My hands were shaking so violently, I knocked a bottle of lotion into the sink. I turned on the faucet to drown out the sound of my breathing. I sat on the closed toilet lid and reached into the back pocket of my jeans. 3 days ago, I had stopped for gas. I had a terrible day at work, and on a whim, a total impulse buy, I bought a quick pick ticket for the multi-state lottery. I shoved it in my wallet and forgot about it until this morning. I had checked the numbers on my phone right before Mark walked into the kitchen. I hadn't even had time to tell him. I was literally holding the phone, staring at the matching numbers, when he slammed the envelope down. I pulled the crumpled ticket out of my pocket. I pulled my phone out. I refreshed the lottery website. Winning numbers: Zo4, 12, 28, 35, 42. Powerball: 09. My ticket: Zo4, 12, 28, 35, 42. Powerball: Zo9. Jackpot: $4.2 million. I sat there in the bathroom listening to the water run. I looked at the ticket. I looked at the door. Through the wood, I could hear Mark pacing. "Come on, Sarah," he shouted. "I have to meet Jessica for lunch at 1 hour. Don't be childish. If you don't sign this, I'm going to hire a shark of a lawyer and bury you in legal fees. You have nothing. You'll be destitute. Just sign the clean break and keep your dignity. You have nothing." If I told him right now, if I walked out there and showed him this ticket, he wouldn't leave. He would stay. He would suddenly realize he made a mistake. He would dump Jessica. He would love me again, or He would divorce me anyway and take $2 million of this. The realization hit me like a bucket of ice water. The tears stopped instantly. My heart rate slowed down. He wants a clean break? He wants to protect his precious $10,000 from me? He wants to ensure that what is in my account stays mine, and what is in yours stays yours. I stood up. I flushed the toilet for effect. I looked in the mirror. My eyes were red, but my jaw was set. I tucked the ticket into my bra. Right against my skin, it felt hot, like a brand. I opened the door and walked back into the kitchen. Mark was texting, smiling at his screen. He looked up, his face falling back into a scowl when he saw me. Finally, he huffed. Well, are you going to sign? Or do I need to call my lawyer and make your life a living hell? I walked to the island. I picked up the pen. You're sure about this clause? I asked, my voice surprisingly steady. Clause 4. Neither party shall have any claim to assets, lottery winnings, inheritances, or capital gains acquired by the other party prior to the finalization of the divorce, provided said assets are held in individual accounts? Yes, yes. He waved his hand impatiently. It's standard. I'm protecting my assets, Sarah. Just sign it. Okay, I said. I'll sign. I looked him dead in the eye. I didn't blink. I scribbled my signature on the line. I dated it. I pushed the papers back to him. There, I said. You're safe. Your $10,000 is safe. He snatched the papers up, grinning like a Cheshire cat. Smart girl. I knew you'd see reason. I'll file these today. You can stay here for the week, but then I need you out. I'm thinking of redecorating before Jessica comes over. Don't worry, I said, leaning against the counter, feeling the crinkle of paper against my chest. I'll be out of here by tonight. I wouldn't want to be where I'm not wanted. Suit yourself, he said. He grabbed his keys. I'm taking the car. Take it, I said. I'll call an Uber. He walked out the door without looking back. I heard the car start. I heard him drive away to meet his 22-year-old future. I walked to the fridge, took out a bottle of cheap champagne we were saving for our anniversary, and popped the cork. I took a swig straight from the bottle. Then I called a lawyer. Mark thinks he just won the negotiation of a lifetime. He thinks he bullied his broke wife into walking away with nothing. He has no idea that he just signed away his claim to $4 million, but he's going to find out soon, and I cannot wait to see the look on his face. Update 1. The paperwork, the gavel, and the phone call. It has been exactly 28 days since Mark slid those divorce papers across the kitchen island. 28 days of me sleeping on my sister's couch. 28 days of Mark posting Instagram stories of his new beginnings with Jessica, who, it turns out, is actually 21, not 22. And 28 days of me holding on to a secret that was literally burning a hole in my safety deposit box. Mark wanted speed. He was absolutely frantic to get this done. He actually paid an extra fee to expedite the court filing because he wanted to be officially free by the time he took Jessica to Cabo next week. He wanted to start his new life with his soulmate and his precious $10,000 savings account without me leeching off him. The irony is, I didn't stall. I didn't fight. I signed everything he put in front of me. My lawyer, a sharp woman named Ellen, who I hired the morning after the clean break conversation, looked over the papers Mark's buddy drew up. She laughed, actually laughed. She told me, Sarah, this is aggressively restrictive. If you sign this, you are waiving your right to inquire about any asset he hasn't disclosed. But conversely, he is waiving his right to anything of yours. It is a total firewall. Are you sure? I told her about the ticket. Ellen stopped laughing. She took off her glasses, looked at me, and said, Let's get you into court. Immediately. The hearing was yesterday. The courtroom smelled like floor wax and stale coffee. Mark was there, wearing his best suit, looking at his watch every 30 seconds. He wouldn't even look at me. He looked like a man who was inconvenienced by having to discard his old life. The judge was an older woman with no patience. She was flipping through the clean break stipulation Mark had insisted on. She frowned and looked over her spectacles at us. Mr. Reynolds, the judge said, looking at Mark, I want to be explicitly clear. This agreement waives all rights to spousal support, alimony, and equitable distribution of assets not listed here. You are stating that you are keeping your personal accounts, and your wife is keeping hers. You are waiving any claim to future discovery of assets. Do you understand? Mark stood up, puffing out his chest. Yes, Your Honor. I understand perfectly. We have kept our finances separate for the last month, and I want to ensure my savings are protected. I don't want any surprises coming after my hard-earned money later. He side-eyed me when he said hard-earned money. He was talking about his 10K. He thought I was going to come back in a year and ask for a handout. The judge looked at me. Mrs. Reynolds, you agree to this? You are walking away with, she glanced at the paper, a checking account with $400 in it and a 2014 Honda Civic? Yes, Your Honor, I said softly. I just want a clean break. Exactly as Mark requested. Mark smirked. I saw it, a little victory twitch in the corner of his mouth. Very well. The judge sighed. She stamped the papers. The sound of that stamp hitting the paper was the loudest sound I have ever heard. Thwack. Divorce granted. Next case. Mark didn't say goodbye. He literally high-fived his lawyer and walked out. I was officially single, and I was officially safe. The claim. This morning, exactly 24 hours after the gavel banged, I walked into the State Lottery Commission headquarters. My lawyer, Ellen, was with me. I didn't opt for the annuity. I took the lump sum. After taxes, it came out to just over $2.6 million. Now, here's the thing about my state. You can't remain completely anonymous. Your name goes on the winner's list. They release a press statement. By 2 p.m., the local news station had posted it on their Facebook page. Local woman wins big. Sarah Reynolds of Oak Creek claims $4 million jackpot. I was sitting in a hotel room. I treated myself to a suite at the nicest hotel in the city, drinking a glass of expensive champagne. Not the cheap stuff I drank the night he left. I was staring at the view, feeling the first moment of actual peace I'd felt in years. Then my phone buzzed. Then it buzzed again. Then it started vibrating continuously, like an angry hornet. Caller ID, Mark. I let it go to voicemail. He called back instantly. I let it go to voicemail again. He called a third time. I took a sip of champagne, cleared my throat, and answered. Hello? Is this a joke? Mark's voice was so high-pitched, it cracked. He sounded like he was hyperventilating. Sarah, is this a sick joke? My mom just sent me a link, a Facebook link. Oh, I said, keeping my voice casual. Hi, Mark. No, it's not a joke. Crazy, right? You won $4 million? He screamed the number so loud I had to pull the phone away from my ear. When? When did you buy the ticket? Last week of October, I said. 3 days before you asked for the divorce. Silence. Total, dead silence on the line. I could hear him breathing. I could practically hear the gears in his head grinding as he did the math. We were married, he whispered. Then his voice rose to a roar. We were married. That is marital property. That is community property. Half of that is mine. You can't just hide that. Actually, Mark, I didn't hide it, I said, swirling the champagne in my glass. I just didn't mention it. And according to the binding document you forced me to sign yesterday, the one where you were so worried about me taking your 10 grand, we waived all rights to each other's assets. What is in my account stays mine. What is in your account stays yours. Remember? That was for the savings account, he sputtered. That wasn't for millions. You defrauded me. I gave you exactly what you wanted. I cut in, my voice turning ice cold. You wanted a clean break. You wanted to protect your assets because you thought I was a loser with nothing. You made me sign a waiver for any and all future claims. You stood in front of a judge yesterday and bragged about it. I'm calling Steve, he was shouting now, sounding panicked. I'm calling my lawyer. I'm going to sue you for every penny. You tricked me. You can try, I said, but my lawyer is pretty confident that clean break means clean break. Enjoy Cabo with Jessica, Mark. I hear it's expensive this time of year. I hung up. Then I blocked his number. I thought that would be the end of it for the night. I was wrong. 10 minutes ago, I got a notification. Mark didn't just call his lawyer. He went on Facebook. He made a public post tagging me, the news station, and his entire family, claiming I stole his future and that I am a liar and a thief. The comments are rolling in. Half the town is confused, and the other half is grabbing popcorn. And my lawyer just texted me, buckle up. He just filed an emergency motion to freeze your assets. He really thinks he can win this. He has no idea what I have up my sleeve for the court battle. Update 2. I thought the silence after I blocked Mark would last. I was naive. 2 weeks after the lottery news broke, I was served. I was literally walking out of a bakery, holding a box of celebratory cupcakes for my sister, when a process server shoved a thick envelope into my chest. The lawsuit Mark didn't go back to his buddy Steve for this. He hired a billboard lawyer, one of those guys with a fake tan and a commercial that plays at 2 a.m. The suit was for fraudulent non-disclosure of marital assets and breach of fiduciary duty. He was suing me for $2.1 million, half the winnings, plus emotional damages. For a week, I was terrified. Even with millions in the bank, the idea of being dragged back into a room with Mark made me want to vomit. I kept thinking, what if he wins? What if the judge thinks I'm the villain? But my lawyer, Ellen, was calm, terrifyingly calm. She sat in her office, drinking black coffee, flipping through the lawsuit. Sarah, she said, not looking up. He doesn't have a leg to stand on. In fact, he dug his own grave. We're going to let him lie in it. The showdown. The court date was set for last month. This wasn't the quick divorce hearing. This was a motion to vacate the settlement. The courtroom was packed. Mark was there, looking thin and ragged. He wasn't wearing his nice suit anymore. He looked like he hadn't slept in a week. Next to him was his flashy lawyer. Mark's lawyer started off screaming. He painted me as a mastermind, deceitful wife who maliciously withheld life-changing information while poor, trusting Mark just wanted an amicable separation. Mrs. Reynolds knew she was a millionaire, the lawyer bellowed, pointing a finger at me. She looked her husband in the eye and let him sign away his rights, knowing full well the disparity in their assets. That is fraud. I felt small. Everyone was looking at me. Mark was nodding vigorously, playing the victim perfectly. Then it was Ellen's turn. She didn't scream. She didn't point. She walked to the podium and placed a single binder on the judge's bench. Your Honor, Ellen said smoothly, the plaintiff claims he was tricked into signing the clean break agreement. However, we would like to submit into evidence the text logs between Mr. Reynolds and his own legal counsel, as well as texts sent to my client dating back to October. She pulled up a projection on the screen. It was a screenshot of a text Mark sent me 3 hours before I signed the papers. Mark, text, I don't care what you think is fair. I want a total waiver. Clause 4 stays. I'm not risking my savings for your future debt. If you don't sign the waiver for all future discovery, I will drain the account and leave you with nothing. Sign it. Ellen let the silence hang in the room. Mr. Reynolds didn't sign a standard waiver, Ellen continued. He specifically requested a non-modifiable, irrevocable waiver of all asset discovery, known or unknown. He drafted it. He insisted on it. He threatened my client to get it because he believed he was the one with the superior financial position. The law does not allow you to vacate a contract simply because you gambled and lost. The judge looked at the screen. Then he looked at Mark. Mark's face was the color of a tomato. He was whispering frantically to his lawyer, but the lawyer looked defeated. The verdict. The judge took his glasses off and rubbed the bridge of his nose. Mr. Reynolds, the judge said, his voice echoing in the room, you came into this court asking for equity, but the evidence shows you acted with predatory intent during the divorce. You tried to bully your wife out of a few $1,000s. You constructed a legal wall to keep her out. Now that you realize there is gold on the other side of that wall, you want to tear it down. Mark stood up, trembling. But it's $4 million. It's not fair. Sit down, the judge barked. The agreement holds. You insisted on a clean break. You got it. Case dismissed with prejudice. And furthermore, since this motion was frivolous, given the clear language you drafted, you are ordered to pay the defendant's legal fees. Mark slumped into his chair. He put his head in his hands. It was over. Final conclusion. The aftermath. The mistress. You might be wondering about Jessica, the fresh 22-year-old soulmate. Well, it turns out Jessica was very interested in Mark's potential. When Mark told her he was going to sue me and get $2 million, she stuck around. She even came to the courthouse and waited in the hallway. When Mark walked out of that courtroom, broke, defeated, and now owing my high-priced lawyer About $15,000 in legal fees, Jessica didn't offer a shoulder to cry on. According to a mutual friend, the conversation went something like this. Mark: I lost. I have to pay her lawyer. Jessica: so, we aren't going to Cabo? Mark: I can't afford Cabo. I need to move into a cheaper apartment. She broke up with him via text message 3 hours later. She blocked him on everything. It turns out a 40-year-old broke divorcee with anger issues wasn't exactly what she signed up for. My life now. It has been 6 months since the verdict. I didn't blow the money on Ferraris. I paid off my parents' mortgage. I set up college funds for my nieces. And I bought a house, a beautiful A-frame cabin overlooking a lake about 2 hours away from the city. I wake up every morning and drink coffee on my deck, listening to the birds. No yelling, no walking on eggshells. No one telling me I'm worthless. I started a small bakery business, something I always wanted to do, but Mark said was a waste of money. It's doing great. The thank you card. Last week I did something petty. I admit it. I sent Mark a card. Inside I didn't write an insult. I didn't brag. I just wrote, Mark, thank you for insisting on the clean break agreement. It was the best financial advice anyone has ever given me. Sarah: I heard from a friend that he is currently living in a studio apartment above a garage, driving for a rideshare app to pay off his debts. He tells everyone in town that I stole his life, but nobody listens. They all remember how he bragged about his $10,000 and his new girlfriend. Closing thoughts. I used to cry over him. I used to think I wasn't enough. But looking back, I realized that winning the lottery wasn't the best thing that happened to me. The best thing was him leaving. The money just made the door hit him a little harder on the way out. Be careful what you wish for, and be careful how you treat people when you think you have the upper hand. Mark wanted to keep every penny to himself. He got his wish. He kept his pennies. I kept the millions. I'm going to go check on my sourdough starter now. Life is good.